chaos reigns. That's actually a quote from a demonic fox that makes a brief appearance in this movie, Antichrist. And that's a good way to sum this deranged movie up. It is a mentally vicious, gripping, complex, brutally savage nightmare of a film. Just horror at its absolute finest. It's directed and written by Lars von Trier, a Danish filmmaker, I believe. This movie's in English, but it's just a great piece of work. I can't wait to see more of this director's projects. I think he directed Dogville with Nicole Kidman and Mandalay, a couple others. But I'm anxious to see him because he's an amazing director. It starts off with a graphic sex scene. Graphic meaning pornographic. The two main characters remain nameless, but the man is played by William Dafoe, and the woman is Charlotte Gainsbourg. They're having sex in the shower, and this proceeds to the bedroom, where they're getting it on. Shows, like I said, very graphic, shows more than some care to see. Anyway, it's an alarming way to start off the movie, but even more alarming is the fact that their son, a little infant, about 1.5 years old, he crawls out of his crib and heads toward their bedroom. He sees mom and dad doing their thing and walks to the window, opens up the window latch, and falls to his death. So this is, of course, very alarming, shocking moment. It's every parent's number one fear, I'd say, is the death of their child. So next we see the couple dealing with their grief and their guilt. Sex is kind of labeled as a bad thing immediately. One thing I saw that was very important, directly following this, they head to the funeral. Defoe is walking ahead of his wife, kind of leaves her behind, kind of seems a little distant from her. That plays a big part in this movie. You know, you would kind of expect him to be right by her side, holding her, comforting her, but he seems a little bit distant, I think. So that plays a prominent factor later on in the movie. But anyway, ends up his wife Charlotte. She ends up collapsing. The guilt and depression is too much for her to bear. So she's checked into a hospital. She's there for a month, and eventually Defoe checks her out. He wants to be her therapist, I guess. He is an actual therapist. Wants to give her counseling. And they go to a remote cabin out in the woods, a place they call Eden. And this is where the religious parallels really become evident. I almost think this movie could be called Adam and Eve Part 2, or Adam and Eve the Evil version. But it's a lot of weird stuff starts happening out here in Eden. Instead of the serpent and the temptation, we have other demonic animals. I already mentioned the fox. There's also a deer and a crow, I believe. These are all symbolizing pain, despair, and grief. But it gets very bizarre, kind of hallucinogenic. Some weird, surreal stuff happening. I remember Defoe mentions something about nature being Satan's church. I think he means nature, not only the wilderness, but also nature as in human nature. That humans are inherently evil by nature. Specifically women being instruments of Satan. And this is kind of explored, becomes evident with his girlfriend as she goes crazy. She definitely falls off the deep end and This becomes just an all-out, straight horror film, the most graphic, gruesome stuff you'll ever see. Defoe becomes a victim and begins to get tortured by his wife. But anyway, people have responded to this movie saying it's too excessively and needlessly violent. It is meant to shock you, and it does portray the extent that evil can progress. I just think it's just a super great film, very brutal, very artistically done, and it's alarming, but it serves a purpose, and it's, like I said, it's artistically done. There is some artistic merit there, and it's got a lot of replay value because there's so much stuff that's not exactly spelled out for you, so it might frustrate some viewers, but I just found it fascinating, and really it's really just an amazing piece of work. Can't wait to watch and rewatch it again. But Criterion has done an excellent job with this release. Comes with a booklet and some interviews with the director and the cast. None of them will really give anything away about some meaning that they had. They kind of leave that up to you to decipher. But any horror fan, I just highly recommend this film. It's one of the best films I've seen ever. It's just a great movie. So anyway, that's about it. I'd say definitely rent this at least. I think it's available on Netflix. I'm very proud to have it in my collection. Anyway, I think that's about it. Like I said, I'm Chris Blackshear. Neuter and spade your demons, and keep your horror fictional. Thank you, and have a great day.